Okay, good morning everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So as I told you, we are going to start with the next chapter, that is Unit 2, which is depending on the finite cell apparatus. Any doubt about the first unit? Yes, if you are having any doubt about the first unit, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll go for the second unit. I want to ask you whether you have solved that as a statement I have given you, three statement. Yes, in the yesterday's lecture I have given you three statements to prove, no? Can anyone tell me whether you have proved that statement, whether you have got the result? Just at least you can repeat what are the statement I have given you to prove. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello? Okay. You can tell me now. What are the statement I have given you, whether you got the proof for that?
मैम वो हेलिक्स का था मेरा प्रश्न किया है.
What you told I am not able to hear. You have to just use a headphone. हाँ, yes.
अल्फा टी इज इक्वल टू ए कॉस टी ए साइन टी एंड बी टी वो था ना, वो सॉल्व किया है.
Okay, that is a helix. That was a homework in the not in the yesterday's lecture. The day before it was. In the yesterday's lecture, I have given you a three statement. Very easy statement was there. If and only if statement was there. That's why I haven't recorded that lecture, and I don't have a recording of that lecture, and it will not be on the YouTube. So that's why I'm asking you whether you have proved that results. Three statement. At least anyone remember what I have to teach you in the last lecture? Yes.
वेक्टर फील्ड ऑन अ कर्व घेतले होते मॅडम. नंतर पॅरलल वेक्टर फील्ड आणि ते होमवर्क साठी 3 स्टेटमेंट दिले होते.
Yes. Homework. You have a statement. Three statement to prove for the homework. I have given the hint also. Right. If and only if statement was there, and we have seen the first definition is orientation, preserving orientation, reversing. What is positively oriented, what is negatively oriented, which we have studied already in the complex analysis. Positively oriented means what? Anti-clockwise direction. The closed curve, simple closed curve, if it is, we are going to say it is positively oriented, it should be in anti-clockwise direction. And if it is in clockwise direction, we say it is a negatively oriented. And we say that reparameterization beta is orientation preserving if a new curve alpha and beta both have a same orientation, that is positively oriented, and beta will also be positively oriented on the condition h double dash or h dash is greater than 0. What was the condition? At least you can tell this one. Whether it was h dash or h double dash.
एच डॅश मॅडम.
Correct. H dash is greater or equal to 0, and it is called orientation reversing. That means if alpha is positive, beta will be negatively oriented, or beta is positive, alpha is negatively oriented. Then we say that it is orientation reversing. That means your H dash should be less equal by 0. Okay. After that, I have given you three statement. Very easy statement. First was a velocity is 0, then your curve alpha is a constant curve. Then second one, non-constant curve is said to be a straight line if and only if its acceleration is 0, right? And the third statement was uh, vector field or parallel vector field on a curve on the condition y dash is equal to 0. Yes, whether you remember now, what were
Yes,
you
ma'am.
doing? करतायत ना अभ्यास सगळे?
Yes, ma'am.
I have given you homework. Still, no one was responsive. What was the homework? What we have studied? Then you are going to be a serious for your post graduation course. See, don't think that now as online exams are there and all. You might be heard that some schools and universities have been opened. So there may be a chance we are also going to open. So you might be going to give the next theory exam offline, that is in the physical mode. Even you can see on the board itself whether you are able to see. दिसतंय का काय लिहिलेलं आहे
Yes,
बोर्डवर?
ma'am.
So what it is?
Last exam 2020 only silent.
Yes. Yesterday it was an exam, so that's why the classroom were not available. So physical exam of the uh, LLM, LLB के बाद जो होता है पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन, LLM के लिए जो एंट्रेंस एग्जाम हो गया था वो ऑफलाइन हो गए. रादर एंट्रेंस एग्जाम इज ऑफलाइन. सो यू कैन थिंक व्हाट अबाउट द थ्योरी एग्जाम. एंट्रेंस एग्जाम तो मोस्टली हम लोग ऑनलाइन देते हैं ना, बट नाउ यू कैन थिंक दैट yesterday the exam was held in the 3 to 4 classes. LLM का एंट्रेंस एग्जाम था वो भी ऑफलाइन हो गए. So you can now think that what will be your exam, whether it is offline or online. It depends on situation. I cannot give a guarantee that it will be MCQ or it may be a theory exam. So I'm again repeatedly telling you that you should write down at least once. Whenever we are going to teach you, you feel that, it's okay, we can do it. Right? Mathematics cannot be studied by reading. You have to do it calculations by closing your notebook. You have to write down at least once without looking. At least I was hoping that yesterday, whatever the homework I have given, you may be remembering it. So how I am going to introduce the second topic if you are not very much aware about the first topic. And repeatedly I am telling you that the first unit will be the syllabus for your first internal. See friends, you have to do a study. Not for the exam at least. You might be thinking it is MCQ or a theory exam, but it is for you. You have to face a world now, and you want to do a job and anything else. Right now? Okay, let me go for the next unit. Freinet apparatus we are going to see in this. Okay, we may call it as a Freinet-Sunnet formulas. Actually, this was introduced by Freinet in his doctoral thesis. That means he has completed his PhD with the help of this Freinet apparatus only. He has introduced this Freinet apparatus and he got the doctorate degree with the help of this only. He has presented this in his thesis, and after that he was appointed as a professor in the France University. The name I am not remembering. Toulouse. Okay. in the University of Toulouse in the France. He was appointed as a professor after completion of his doctorate PhD in the Trinity apparatus only. Okay, I will tell you in the year 1847. That means in the 19th century, the concept of the Freinet apparatus was introduced. Okay, because if you know that the concept of algebra, whatever you are studying, algebra 1, 2, real analysis 1, 2, all these concepts were there in the 16th century. But this Renaissance apparatus was introduced in the 19th century. So this is what a new one. And whatever we are studying about the algebra, real, all these concept, linear algebra, if you have heard, all this concept was introduced in the 16th or 17th century. So it has large number of result. And if you want to do a study in these, and if you want to do a PhD in these areas, algebra, real, and if you want to do any research in linear algebra, so you will get very tremendous amount of research. You have to study very much so that you can cope up with nowadays. That means now it is 2020, right? So kitna research ho gaya hoga in sab areas mein, but here in these areas it is introduced in the 19th century. So it is a new topic as well as uh, we can say that if you are going to do a research in these areas, you will get a good journal to publish, right? Whenever you are going to have any paper or any research you have done, you have to publish in any one of the paper or in any one of the journal. That journal should be a reputed journal, right? So that's why I'm telling you this is what a research done by that René Sennett in the 1847, and he was awarded as a doctorate, and after that he has joined as a professor in the University of France with the help of this René Sennett apparatus. Okay, now let me tell you why it is called apparatus. Because if you go for the concept of the chemistry or physics, right? Many of you people have done the any practicals in our physics and chemistry. Kelet na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so where you're going to tell them as a apparatus, whatever the object we are going to use for our practicals, we say it is a apparatus, correct? So here also we are saying Freinet and formulas, or we say it is Freinet apparatus. Mostly we are going to say it is Freinet apparatus or Freinet formulas. Okay. So why we are saying them to be apparatus? Because mostly the word apparatus is used for any physical object. Barobar na?
Yes, ma'am.
Because in the suppose we are doing any practical in the physics, suppose we are doing a practical of a pendulum, suppose we are doing a practical of any practical in the chemistry, so we need some apparatus. But here we tell these let me write down all those terms. T and B, these are forming a frame field, and curvature and torsion, these are scalar quantity. So totally 5 quantities we have, and we call them to be a Freinet apparatus, right? Now, I will explain you why it is called a Freinet apparatus. Okay, because whenever you are going to do any practical in the physics, chemistry, or anywhere else, you need apparatus to perform any practical to get the result. But here, as we studied initially that in the differential geometry, we are going to study the curves and surfaces, right? In the second unit, we are going to study the curve. Okay. Now, what about the curve? That means we are going to see what is the velocity of the curve, acceleration of the curve, what is a normal curvature, what is a binormal, what is a twisting of the curve, how the curve is turning. Everything will be explained by all these 5 apparatus. Okay, getting me what I told you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so all the physical objects, or we can say all the geometric entities of any curve, will be explained by all these 5 apparatus. The firstly it is T and B. So this T and B, uh, are forming a frame field, and this curvature k and the torsion are the scalar quantities, and these are vector quantities. Okay. So let me start with this. What is T and B? What is K? What is torsion? Okay. So as we have studied earlier, that if you are having any curve, suppose we have any curve, right? So for that any curve, if I want to find out the velocity, just like again the same example, if you are traveling on a bike, at every time you will have a different velocity. At every position you can have a different velocity. That velocity is nothing but alpha dash of t, right? Okay. Now here Frenet formula describe the kinematic properties of the particle moving along a any direction, moving continuously in a 3D space. Okay. Geometric properties of the curve irrespective of its motion. Right. We are going to see geometric properties of the curve irrespective of its motion. It consists of a three vector field, that is T and V. Okay. The first T is nothing but tangent, N is normal, B is a binormal. And we have a two scalar quantities, that is curvature K and the torsion 2. Okay. All these five apparatus are completely going to determine the geometric properties of the curve. Okay. So let me start with the T. What is T? T is a tangent to the curve. And these are vector quantity. And what we can say, N is a principal normal, normal to the curve. Third one is a binormal to the curve. And fourth one is a curvature. Fifth one is torsion. Okay, so totally we are having five quantities: tangent, normal, binormal, curvature, and torsion. Out of them, these are vector quantities and these are scalar one. Later on, you will come to know why I am saying this to be vector and scalar one. Now, let me go one by one. What the tangent tells you: normal, binormal, and all. Okay, let me start with the tangent. This tangent can be simply described by your alpha dash itself. Okay, because we know that. The first derivative is nothing but the slope of tangent to the curve. So this alpha dash is nothing but your tangent to the curve, right? So it will explain you the velocity. Now let me go for the next one. That is principal normal. That is normal n will explain you, will give you or will explain you the turning of the curve. Okay, or we can say direction of a turning at every point. Direction of turning of a curve at any point. Next is binormal. Will explain you the twisting of the curve at every point. Okay, twisting of the curve. I hope you can understand what is twisting of the curve. Suppose I want to study the helix. So you can see here how many turns are there, how many twists are there, right? So initially we have a circle in xy plane and it will be increasing in this direction. So we are getting the helix, correct? I have given you the animation also, how the helix works. So binormal will explain you how many twists are there in your curve at every point. Tangent vector will explain you the velocity that I have not written here. Tangent will explain you the velocity of the curve. And the fourth one, that is curvature K and the torsion, explain you about the shape of the curve. Okay. Or in more precisely, I can say the curvature K is amount of a geometric object such that the curve deviate being a straight. Okay, that means What is a deviation of the curve? We can say it is amount of a geometric object such as a curve deviate from being a straight. Okay, so if it is deviating from being a straight, it will be explained by your curvature. Curvature measures the failure of the curve to be a straight line. Will measure the failure of a curve to be a straight line. Okay, failure of the curve to be a straight line. And torsion measures the failure of the curve to be a planar. Torsion measures the failure of the curve to be planar. That means to lie in a same plane. Okay, so if it is that means if curve is going in some another plane with the help of some torsion, so the torsion will give you the failure of the curve to be in the planar. That means it will be not in the plane one plane, it may go to the some another plane. That will be explained by torsion. Curvature K will be explaining you the failure of the curve to be a straight. That means it will explain you turning, and torsion will explain you how the curve is twisting. That means it is going to change the plane. Yes, everyone getting me what I told you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me repeat once again. So starting with the torsion, tangent. Tangent T will give you the velocity. Normal will explain you turning of the curve. Binormal will explain you twisting of the curve at every point. In curvature K and torsion 2 will explain you about the shape of the curve. So more precisely we can say it will explain you failure of the curve to be a straight, and torsion will give you the failure of the curve to be in a planar. So it will how the curve is changing its plane, it will be explained by the torsion. Okay? Any doubt up to this one?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let me explain you how it looks or how the formulas will be worked. Okay, now firstly we will go for the Freinet formulas for unit speed curve. Freinet formulas for the unit speed curve. That means if already we have solved many example like this. We have a given curve alpha, we are going to find out the arc length, then we find the beta and such that norm of beta dash is equal to 1. That means it is called a unit speed curve. Okay. Any doubt about the unit speed curve?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So let us have the curve beta be a function from open interval I to E3 be a unit speed curve. What do you mean by a unit speed curve? Norm of beta dash is equal to 1 for all s belongs to a given interval I. Okay, because the new parameter is s now. Right. Now we are going to find out what is a tangent, what is normal, binormal, torsion and curvature. All these formulas for the unit speed curve. Okay. So let me start with the first one, the unit tangent vector field. Unit tangent vector field. Okay. Unit tangent vector field T on a curve. How it is going to be find out? T is nothing but b dash. Okay. Simply you have to differentiate your curve beta such that you will get a tangent. As I told you initially, it is going to tell you about the velocity. So how you are going to find out velocity? Just differentiate your curve. You will get the velocity. Right. So let me give you this as a equation one. Since beta has a unit speed, So can I tell this norm of t is equal to norm of b dash is equal to 1?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why I tell this as unit tangent vector field. Unit tangent vector field means what? Norm of t is equal to 1. Okay. So tangent vector is a unit tangent vector at every point. Right. So we can say tangent vector is a unit tangent vector at every point. That means whatever the amount we are going to measure, it is unit 1. That means suppose your curve is like this. So we are going to get a unit tangent vector at every point. Okay. So we can say that tangent vector is a unit tangent vector at every point. If you given curve alpha, so you can say alpha dash or beta dash will give you the value of the velocity which is a tangent vector. Okay. So now let us go from equation 1. So I am going to differentiate equation 1 once again. So d dash is equal to beta double dash, correct? Or I can say it is dt by ds, as your curve is in terms of s. So I am going to differentiate with respect to s. So derivative of b dash again with respect to s, right? Because we don't know anything, we don't know about binormal, normal, all these things. So we are going to start with a given curve. We have a given curve, then we find the velocity which is a tangent, then again differentiate that uh, t, you will get t dash, right, which is beta double dash. This will give you the rate of change of a unit tangent vector, right? What it will give you? The rate of change of a tangent vector, correct? No,
Yes, ma'am.
rate of change of a unit tangent vector with respect to arc length. Why with respect to arc length? Because we know that S is a notation we are using for the arc length. If you remember, S we have a formula integration norm of alpha dash of u du, correct? So we can say that the second derivative, as we know that already initially in the 11th or 12th standard we have studied, the first derivative will give you the slope of a tangent. The second derivative will give you the rate of change of a slope of a tangent. That means by which rate your tangent is changing, right? Um, so second derivative will give you the rate of change of a tangent. So here you can say rate of change of a unit tangent vector with respect to arc length will be explained by this t dash. Okay, so I can say that the t dash measures the way the curve is turning, measures the way curve is turning. Yes, am I correct? Okay, let me explain you with a very easy example. Suppose we have y is equal to x square is a curve. Right, how you are going to find out the slope of a tangent? So this is what your slope of a tangent. Suppose I am finding at this point. So this is what a slope of a tangent, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now if I want to find out the rate of change of a slope of a tangent, that means second derivative. Suppose the curve is your y is equal to x square. So y dash is 2x, y double dash will be 2. So what do you mean by this y double dash is equal to 2? That means your second derivative is 2 means what? It will give you the by how much rate your tangent is changing, right? At every point I am going to find out the tangent. So considering all those, we can say that by how much rate your tangent is changing. And this can be again more clearly given by maxima and minima, right? In the concept of maxima and minima, we are using the second derivative, correct? No? We are
Yes,
equating
ma'am.
first derivative to 0, and we say that if phi double dash is greater than 0, when we have a minima,
Minimum.
y double dash is less than 0, we say that it is a maximum, right? So at that time also, in somewhere in the while teaching classical mechanics, I have given you homework to go through the maxima and minima, right? So what do you mean by your second derivative? First derivative अगर slope of tangent है तो second derivative क्या explain करेगा? Rate of change of a slope of a tangent. So at every point we are going to find out the tangent and by which rate your tangent is changing. That will be explained by your second derivative, correct? So here we can say that T dash measures the way how the curve is turning, right? So here you can see at every point if you are going to find out the tangent, you will feel that how the curve is turning. Robert, let me show
Yes,
you
ma'am.
the animation. The idea will be more clear. You can also search this animation on the Google itself. Okay, so let me go for the second derivative, geometric interpretation. Okay. So let us search what we get. I think I haven't shared you the screen, no? Okay, let me share you the screen. Okay, now you can able to see what is there on the screen.
Yes,
Here,
ma'am.
just search what is a geometric interpretation of the second derivative, right? So now you can able to see the image here. This is like a slope of a tangent at every point. Yes, can whether you are able to see this?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
ओके सो दिस विल गिव यू एक्चुअली ये हम लोग 2D प्लेन पे नहीं दिखा सकते ना सो एट एवरी पॉइंट यू आर गेटिंग वन स्लोप ऑफ अ टेंजेंट एंड हाउ दैट स्लोप ऑफ अ टेंजेंट इज चेंजिंग दैट विल बी एक्सप्लेन बाय योर सेकंड डेरिवेटिव ओके and you can see here f double dash is less than 0, f has a maxima, and f double dash is greater than 0, it has a minimum, and f double dash equal to 0 means what? The test fails. Why the test fails? I will explain you later on for this one. Now let me search for the second, any one other images for that. Okay, actually it is about partial derivative. See here you can see on the research gate, it has an article what is geometric interpretation of the half and second derivative, right? So this is what paper one has published, that what is the meaning of half and second derivative, right? So you can see the research is going on in this. What is the geometric interpretation of a second derivative and the half derivative? Right, I think I'm not getting the images. Let us search on the images itself. Okay, now you can see the tremendous images are available. Oh, let me select one. You can see this one. This we know that it is nothing but the slope of a tangent at a point about the first derivative. ये सबको पता है ना? We know that how it is found. H tends to 0, then that your tangent we are going to change, right? H अगर 0 के पास जा रहा है तो ये जो straight line है it will be tending like this, right? So secant is converted to a tangent as H is tending to 0. माहिती है ना है?
Yes, ma'am.
As H is tending to 0, the secant will be converted to a tangent. Yes, more images are not available. This one is good. You can see slope is increasing, second derivative is positive, and concavity is upward. So you can say that this curve is concave up and second derivative is positive, right? In this case. And here second derivative is negative and you can say concave downward, right? And if you're going to check the all these conditions, what you have to do, you have to take a curve, you have to find out f dash, f double dash, and you have to do it on a paper, pen and paper take, and you have to find out how f double dash is changing, right? So you can see this about the second derivative, that it will give you the rate of change of a slope of a tangent, right? Here also you can see if the curve is like this and it ensures that y double dash is less than 0, means what, you have a maxima, right? And if curve is like this, we can say it has a y double dash is greater than 0, so that it has a minima. Yes, everyone able to see this image?
Yes, ma'am.
So here, if y double dash equal to 0, it means that it is the second derivative test is going to fail. Why it is going to fail? Because at that point, we cannot give a guarantee whether it has a maxima or minima. You can see here. For the inflation point, the second derivative is 0. At the same time, the first derivative is also 0. It represents that a point where the curvature is changing its sense. That is, inflation points are relatively rare in the nature. That means उस point पे curve अपना nature change करता है, right? Which means that y double dash equal to 0 means what? Your curve may be changing the nature, but actually every time it is not possible. So that's why we say that if y double dash equal to 0, the test fails, right? Okay, let me give you one more image. So you can have here f double dash less than 0, f double dash greater than 0, right? So you can have a concave up and concave down nature to check the second derivative test. Okay, so f double dash is positive, that means concave up. F double dash is negative, it means concave down. And that's why we are using the second derivative test for checking the maxima and minima. Yes, everyone understood what is the second derivative?
Yes, ma'am.
So with the help of that image that I have shown you on the Wikipedia, you can see at every point you are having one slope. So with the help of that slope itself, you can see by how much rate the slope of tangent is changing at every point, right? So we can say T dash measures the way the curve is turning. Okay. Now, actually, when we come across the thing that initially we have studied, what we have studied, normal will explain you the turning of the curve. Okay, let me show you. We have studied that normal explain the turning of the curve. That means this T dash is nothing but your normal, but with the help of some simplification. Okay. So now I can say that k of s is nothing but norm of t dash. Okay, if I am going to take norm of t dash, it is nothing but the curvature k, the formula for the curvature k. That means curvature k is nothing but norm of t dash means what? T dash is nothing but beta double dash norm of beta double dash. Correct? So norm of beta double dash is your curvature k for all s belongs to the interval I. Right? Now uh, the value of curvature k. Why I am telling this curvature k is a norm of t dash? Because as I told you that initially the curvature k will explain you the failure of the curve to be a straight, right? So here also you can see by how much rate your slope of a tangent is changing. If I am going to take its scalar value, it will be explained by your curvature k. Okay, now let me show you one more images that idea of the curvature will be explained more easily from this. Okay, so what we are going to search here, we are going to search that radius of curvature. Your curvature k is nothing but your radius of curvature in this case. Okay, everyone knowing what is the radius of curvature? Okay, so you can see now the images where I will show you what is the radius of curvature. Okay, so you can see this image. Okay, so at this point, if you want to find out the radius of curvature, what do you mean by that word radius in the radius of curvature is at every point you are going to complete one circle, and that is nothing but your radius of curvature. If you remember, while solving the example, we find firstly radius of curvature and then we take the reciprocal. आठवतंय का सगळ्यांना?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is what your radius of a circle at every point. At every point, you have to find out one circle, complete the circle. That is nothing but radius, and radius of curvature is nothing but it's a reciprocal. Here also you can see at every point you have to find out one circle, and then you can see this red mark. This is nothing but your radius. Okay. If I am able to find out the animation, I will show you that. Yeah, I think it is not available here. Okay, okay. Let us take about this. Okay, now you can see by clicking to that image, you come across this one. Okay, so here at every point you are going to first complete one circle, that is nothing but a radius. Okay, with the help of that, we are finding the radius of curvature. You can see curvature k is dt by ds. Okay, just now we have written t dash is nothing but your curvature. Okay, here I got the image. Okay, now you can see at every point there it is completing one circle, and that red line is nothing but your radius. दिसतंय सगळ्यांना?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So whenever you have your seminar, you should explain like this by taking all these examples. Okay, whatever that red line is nothing but your radius, and with the help of that only we are finding the radius of curvature. Okay, why the word radius is using here? Okay, so here this curvature K is nothing but your radius of curvature, which we have studied already in our BSc. Okay. Okay, here also some GIF are there. Now if you click on this, you can able to see that how that radius of curvature works. Now you can see. This is Agrana. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So at every point you have to first complete a circle, and whatever that red mark you are getting, that whatever the object you are able to see, that is nothing but your radius of curvature. You can note. Okay. You can search for more images like this, where you can find out the radius of curvature for every curve. Okay. So you can see this curvature K formula is 1 upon R. So first we find the radius, then it is 1 upon R. So एक्चुअली ये फॉर्मूला हमने स्टडी किया है ना, 1 + y' स्क्वायर रेज टू 3/2 डिवाइडेड बाय y', करेक्ट? एंड दिस इज व्हाट अ फॉर्मूला कर्वेचर K is 1 upon R. Actually you are not able to see now. Okay, now you are able to see. So this is our formula. K is nothing but 1 upon R. Correct? And this was a formula we are using 1 + y' square raised to 3/2 divided by y'. Yes, आठवतंय का BSc मध्ये यूज केला होता हे फॉर्म्युला
Yes, ma'am.
रेडियस ऑफ. So what is actual meaning of the word radius is nothing but with the help of that images I have shown you. Okay. So let us come back. So what I told you here, K is nothing but your norm of T dash, which is a physical quantity. We can say it is a scalar quantity. K is equal to norm of T dash. K is equal to norm of beta dash. And after that, we are going to find out the unit normal. Okay, so how you are going to find out a unit normal? We know that very important property of a tangent and normal, they are perpendicular to one another. Barobar?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with the help of that property itself, we are going to find out the normal. Okay, so can anyone explain me or give me a hint how you are going to deal with this to find out a unit normal? Okay, what is a norm of T? It is equal to 1 we got initially.
Yes, ma'am.
यहाँ पे हमने इक्वेशन 1 में देखा था ना, norm of b dash is equal to 1, so that's why norm of T is equal to 1. Okay, so if norm of T is equal to 1, I can use the property of norm, definition of norm, T dot T is equal to 1. बरोबर आहे ना? X dot X is nothing but norm of X.
Yes, ma'am.
So now if I am going to differentiate this, what I will get? T as it is derivative T dash plus Again t as it is, derivative t dash, which is equal to 0. So I can say 2 times t dash is equal to 0, which implies that 2 is non-zero, t into t dash is equal to 0. Yes? You're simply evaluating the dot product. Is anyone having a doubt for this step?
No, ma'am.
Okay. T dash equal to 0, it means that t and t dash are perpendicular to each other.
Yes, ma'am.
So, which important property we know about this one is tangent and normal are also perpendicular to each other.
Yes, ma'am.
So, hence we can say t dash is equal to k into n. That means t dash is in the direction of a normal. If t is a tangent, t agar tangent hai, so t dash is perpendicular to t. Here we have proved t into t dash is 0. Here we know that tangent and normal are also perpendicular to each other. So with the help of these two, result t into t dash is also 0, t into n is also 0. That means t dash must be in the direction of a normal.
Yes, ma'am.
So I can say if t dash is in the direction of a normal, I can write them as a scalar multiple of one another. That is t dash is equal to k into n. This k is a scalar. That's why I have used a scalar k here. What is k? K is a curvature. We know the formula for t dash is equals to norm of t dash into n. So hence we got the formula for normal as t dash upon norm of t dash, and hence I told you this is what a unit normal. Why it is a unit normal? t dash है, यहाँ पे भी t dash है. अगर आप norm लोगे तो क्या होगा यहाँ पे? Norm of t dash divided by again norm of t dash. What you will get the answer?
Unit vector.
So hence I told you this is what a unit normal. Okay. So yes, anyone having a doubt about this one? Here this point is important. Here you get t dash is equal to 0, and we know the property tangent and normal are also perpendicular to each other. So from this step you can say that t dash and n both are in the same direction, hence we write the result. T dash is equal to k into n. That means if t dash and n both are in the same direction, they are a scalar multiple of one another. Okay. So if you are having a doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, we can end the lecture. You can attend the next lecture. Thank you.